The first time I saw the Rebbe was on a Simchas Torah night when I was in college, which was in the early 60s. I was not totally observant then. And I grew up in an Orthodox family, but I went to college, so naturally I exercised the liberty that college gave me. But I had a friend who was an older man, who was a man named Bill Horowitz, who was a banker and a Yale alumnus, who I met accidentally and kind of watched over me while I was at college. And he was quite fascinated by the Rebbe and by the Lubavitch movement generally. And in a most extraordinary pairing, a grouping of people, on one Simchas Torah night, he brought me and the then chaplain of Yale, William Sloane Coffin, who was well known at that time. And it was a phenomenal experience. So we went to 770, we saw not just the normal fervor and excitement and emunah of the place, but the special, extra spiritual dimension of Simchas Torah, and it was quite exciting. The first time I went, I was very much in the crowd when I went with Mr. Horowitz. The second time, I had already achieved some status, I guess, and I was taken up with other public officials, and had the opportunity to be relatively close to the Rebbe, in addition to saying hello. And of course, his eyes were very compelling. So it was, I remember the moment. There was a lot of chaim, a lot of life in that exchange. The meeting that I remember most with the Rebbe is when I went in January of 1989, after I had been elected to the Senate, to visit the Rebbe actually as I was coming to Washington. In other words, I went to him right before going to LaGuardia Airport to take the shuttle to Washington to be sworn in a day or two later as a United States Senator. And it was a very powerful experience. I brought my family with me. That was a Sunday afternoon. He was distributing the dollars for tzedakah, and we spoke for a while. I have a tape of that which I cherish and look at very often, and I appreciated his not only his bracha, his blessing, as I began this new chapter of my life, but also his urging me on to make the most of it. And he gave a bracha and a word to every member of my family with remarkable relevance, I thought. A little something special for everyone. And there was quite a range there, from my mother to then our youngest child, who was less than a year old.